right, down here at the bottom left, our Protoss player from the team Quantic down a game. Can he tie things up here? Let's find out. He is.
Quantic NaNiWa.
Look at him, man. He is so intense right now. I've actually never seen someone like this before. At the top left, our Prime player. He's currently up one game, a strong PvP player. He is
Creator Prime.
Creator Prime. Scary Protoss to face. He can hold almost anything in a PvP. Very strong defensive player. You know, some might argue that he got into Code S on a little bit of a fluke, winning, in fact, a PvP that many argue he would not have won. Sup, Craig? We love you, man, and miss you. I hope Craig is watching at home. They really miss you, man. They wish you could be here. I wish you could be here. You probably wish you could be here, too. But you're here in spirit. Your friends are here. And it's always cool to see cheerfuls like that. Now, at this point, the simulators are finishing up at even timings. NaNiWa may decide to go for a second gas before core again this game, but he's running out of time for that. And I believe if he had planned to do that, he would have done it already by now. There's the core. That type of build is much more effective on a huge map like we saw. Hi Ben, hi Jimmy. NaNiWa fighting. We heart ST. Well, that's a lot of hearts for ST. Oh man, NaNiWa is going crazy in the booth. I can feel his enthusiasm, his frustration after losing the first game. I can actually feel the heat coming from that booth right now. We do see a second gas for Creator. NaNiWa has done the same. Chrono Boost for Creator being used on his Stalker. NaNiWa has saved 50 Chrono Boost. Will likely Chrono Boost both his gateways when he has the opportunity to. He's saving it quite a bit here, though. You can see most of the time when Creator wins the first set, he'll win the second one. Interesting statistic, but it's only happened 6 times in total. Now, NaNiWa is sending a probe to scout for the first time now. Across the map, he will find his opponent is not there, and Creator again, not scouting. Using a Stalker to deny probe scouts way at the bottom of his ramp. Has a Zealot as well at the top of the ramp in case the probe somehow sneaks by. Great positioning there. And Creator going up to 3 gateways now. Gonna probably do a 3 gateway expansion build. And NaNiWa did place a pylon on the right side of the map. This is his normal pylon. So he's making it at a normal timing that he would make a pylon in his main base, but instead of making his main, he decides to make it on the right side. This gives him more map vision, gives him another warp in point, and I really like this. Now back at home for NaNiWa, he has just stuck with the 2 gateways. He is mining double gases, of course. This is PvP. Twilight Council going down now for Creator. And NaNiWa trying to figure out how he should approach this ramp, but Creator is just too well positioned. Totally shut down. NaNiWa, though, coming now with his 3-Stalker rush, and this can really put a hurt on someone who cuts gateway production. The 1 sentry is available. NaNiWa is going to use the Zealot for vision. He's going to try to target down the weakened Stalker. And look at this Creator actually not using the force field. That is a great decision. I don't think I've seen a decision like that in a long time. And the Stalker survives with 4 hit points, trades a Stalker for a Zealot, essentially, as that Stalker will, you know, eventually die faster than his other ones. Pretty even trade there. But this gives NaNiWa some scouting. Oh, he's going to lose a Stalker, though, but that's a lot of force field energy spent on sentries that he just bought. That's so much gas dumped into sentries. When Creator wants to be making Stalkers and not sentries, as he is going for a Blink Stalker timing here. Will make a Nexus. Now, this map is arguably one of the better maps for Blink Stalkers because you can blink from the 3rd base location into the main base if you have vision. And if you attack straight up at the ramp is wide enough to where you can actually use your Stalker's blink back ability defensively to attack and against someone who does not have Immortals or has a very sentry-heavy army. Right now, the Stalker count is 2 to 4 in Creator's favor, but Creator will have blink. The Nexus timing much heavily in favor of NaNiWa, but not, you know, not as much so as it was in the last game. At this point, NaNiWa has gone robotics. He's producing Immortals. This is going to be exactly what he wants. against his opponent's Stalker composition. Now, NaNiWa does have 2 Stalkers on the map to spot, as well as an Observer, what his opponent is doing. And I do not think he will expect Blink. He's going to pull 1 Stalker back. This first Stalker will be killed if Creator chooses to show Blink. And in fact, he can perhaps even kill it without showing Blink. And that's what he's going to try to do here. No! Shows the Blink. An interesting choice. NaNiWa already producing Immortals though, so it's not going to change the outcome of this game too much to show the Blink like that. NaNiWa is completely prepared for this. In fact, if Creator tries to do an offensive Blink when this second Immortal is out and down the ramp, he is going to wish he hadn't. There are enough Zealots here and Guardian Shields. This is not going to be a good engagement for Creator. He tries to make it work, does not even pick off 1 Stalker, just damages it. But as far as tech goes, NaNiWa way in the lead here with that Robotics tech already going. He's going to have a 3rd Immortal, and will probably drop down a Robotics support bay very soon, as well as his gases at the natural. Meanwhile, Creator is going to have to figure out plan B here, because what he planned to do with his Blink Stalkers is not going to be as effective. He wanted to put some pressure on those units at the front. With his Stalkers, the timing that he had was not, it wasn't very good, and the reason why was because he warped in additional sentries. And with this, Creator, this is not like an all-in or like a timing attack build by Creator. This is one that does damage. It's a pressure build, and also it gives him the ability to be more mobile with his Blink Stalkers. That's the one thing that NaNiWa does not, in fact, have on his side. Now, NaNiWa has still not made the Robotic Support Bay. He's actually adding another gateway right now. And there is the Robotic Support Bay, as well as the Forge. Now, what we may see NaNiWa do fairly soon here, as well as add a Twilight Council, so he can get his own defensive Blink, so he can chase down the Stalkers. But he has so many Immortals, they are well split, they will not be targeted, and Creator is actually going to commit here, targeting the Immortal, blinking up. The Immortal's doing so much damage though, and Creator has no Zealots to attack them. And look at how much damage NaNiWa's Immortals are doing, crushing the Stalkers. Needs to target them a little bit better though, as they were targeting a few of the sentries, and Creator actually may have enough here, I cannot believe it. He is trying to break his way through. NaNiWa forced to pull probes. But NaNiWa's Immortal, his final Immortal, holds strong. He pulls it back, and he does hold the push. Worker count right now 40 to 38 in Creator's favor. The supply count 64 to 62. Army supplies basically dead even as well. NaNiWa, though, still having the tech advantage. Has to continue to produce Immortals right now, though. 1 Colossus made rather than an Immortal could cost him the game here with the amount of micro and crazy attacks that we are seeing from Creator right now. He has to be careful. This time there are Zealots in the mix as well, and that will, of course, make it a lot more difficult for NaNiWa to use his Immortals to target those Stalkers appropriately. He cannot afford to use gas on that +1 just yet either. NaNiWa already preemptively pulling his probes, losing a little bit of mining time in total here. Back at home, Creator has started that Robotics, as I mentioned earlier. He's getting his Forge as well here. This is such an aggressive moment for Creator, but I don't think he's going to be able to make this work. Now, what does NaNiWa do next? His Stalker count is 3 to 10. Looks like he has no plans of actually getting the defensive Twilight Council, so he can use that not only to use his Stalkers to defend against Blinks that may run by into his main base, but also to chase Stalkers of his opponent. Looks like he's going to hold off on that until he has a better Stalker count, and I respect that choice. First Colossus now being started for NaNiWa. He had an Observer during all of this time to see that his opponent's army moved out, and the second it did, that's when he started the Colossus. Did not make it a second too soon. Look at the pylon timings for NaNiWa here. They're actually so spot on this game compared to the last game. He's making his pylons. They're finishing right as he needs them for additional units, for additional Colossi. His +1 is a little bit behind that of Creator, because Creator's been chrono boosting it heavily, or potentially started it a little bit faster, even though he had the Forge up later. The Creator has destroyed the rocks. Looks like he's posturing to take a third base. NaNiWa now doing the same. Now remember, Creator does not know about the Observer of NaNiWa, which is, of course, taking a peek, doing a little spy action over there of Creator. Creator going charge first again this time. No Robotic Support Bay in sight for him just yet. And this is going to make it very difficult for him to hold a potential 2 Colossus with range push coming out from NaNiWa. And look at this, NaNiWa adding 4 gateways. It's looking like that's what he's going to do. No matter what stage of the game you are in PvP, whether it's the 13-minute mark or the 25-minute mark, if you have 2 Colossi with range and an army to support it, and your opponent does not have 2 Colossi with range, but he just has an army, it's a good timing attack to do in PvP. Now, Creator is trying to get Immortals out as quickly as he can, as he knows the potential for this attack is there. And NaNiWa is actually going to move out and hide the Colossi. He hides the Colossi while he kills this pylon. He will potentially go and kill the second pylon as well while hiding the Colossi. He needs to go soon if he wants to hit this timing. He thinks he's going to hit with a +1 timing as well, but Creator already has +1 armor on the way. He's finished his +1 research, so they are going to be on even upgrades when the attack hits. And NaNiWa is not going. He is not going. He is not going at all, in fact, and now Creator has still not made a third Nexus, so NaNiWa may have decided he does not want to hit with this timing after all, wants to hit with 3 Colossi. And now he will split his Colossi, potentially expecting an attack here. It seemed everything was leading towards NaNiWa going for a timing attack, but he's shown his Colossi now. He has no third Nexus, and after Creator saw those Colossi, he is definitely not going to make a third Nexus. Now we are going to have 2 base against 2 base for a little bit longer here, as Creator is now making a Templar Archives, and these Stalkers getting way ahead of themselves. Creator giving some Stalkers away from free, and now NaNiWa is going to go. He is in fact going to go. He is not going to wait. His Colossus count now up to 3. No 4th Colossus on the way. He has range, and he is going to hit with that timing. He has so many gateways. No forward pylon up. The pylon he made earlier was, in fact, scouted and killed. He's making that pylon now. Will he wait for it, or will he go? Every second he waits is a second. That's going to help Creator. He got another Immortal out. He's got one more on the way. This is so tense. NaNiWa has to engage this just the right way. He has to have his Zealots in front. And he's just going to start poking away on these units right now. Got to be careful that Immortal. 1 Immortal shot is much more valuable than 1 Colossus shot. Nice micro by NaNiWa using that Colossus range, taking out the cannon here. Guardian Shield is up. Again, the Zealots, though, are not in front. NaNiWa warping in a ton more Zealots here. He's up 14 supply. The army supply for NaNiWa, 123 to 112. The Immortal doing the damage it needs to do, though, and Creator will not hesitate. He runs down. He has the better concave. A lot of NaNiWa's units not fighting, so he pulls back. And Creator botches a blink, loses some Stalkers on the side. Nice hold position micro here from NaNiWa. This fight will decide the game. Creator running in again. The Colossi having to be microed back. NaNiWa needs to target his Immortals. The Immortals of Creator are being targeted. The Archon's doing some extra damage here, but NaNiWa is really pushing through. And Creator, I said he can hold almost anything, but I'm not sure he's going to hold this. There are so many Immortals in the mix for Creator, but NaNiWa just has that range. Then there is no support for the Immortals, so NaNiWa can continue to push forward, taking out those shields, and then move back. The Colossi are being flanked now by the Stalkers, but the Stalker count is too low. It's too low to actually make anything happen here. And NaNiWa continuing to push in with the Colossi. Creator's hit points getting very low. I don't think he's going to hold on much longer. He's going to try, though. Targeting down the Colossi. NaNiWa pulls back, however. He will now use another warp-in of Zealots to end the game. The Colossi take the units out, and GG from Creator. He does not hold the NaNiWa push. The timing attack with 3 Colossi range and +1. He was not able to hold it. NaNiWa takes a sip from his office cup. And he is absolutely ready, I think, for a third game here. No celebration, no look of relief, only a short and sweet glance at the camera before returning back to his mind, to the computer screen. Now Creator, who was 1 game away, and he still is, from taking his place in the winner's stage. But now, if he loses this one, he'll find himself in the losers. This is actually such a tense match right now. It's only first set, but PvP can be like this. So hard to judge how many units you need before you go, how many units you need to hold, whether or not you can take a third Nexus, and where your Stalker should be with Blink if your opponent has Colossi and you don't. These are all things that everyone has to think about in PvP, especially on a map like Entombed, where, you know, at the bottom of the ramp there's a better concave, but at the top of the ramp there's also a better concave. Creator looking a little bit stressed out, but this series is not over. NaNiWa will put his headset on. Actually, he's going to have to take a break potentially. Not going to put his headset on. Looks like he's going to go to the bathroom really quick. When he comes back, though, we are, in fact, going to start the game. So let's talk about that last game a little bit more here, since I am on camera and NaNiWa is taking a short break. Now, we saw NaNiWa decide to go with the choice of going for a Colossus timing attack. Now, why would he make that choice rather than trying to take a third base on a map where taking a third base is actually pretty decent? Why would he make that choice? Well, I think the reason actually is, in fact, that on this map, since he defended the Blink Stalkers, he knows his opponent's tech choice. Without even seeing with an observer, he knows his opponent has committed to the Blink. He's made a ton of Stalkers. He actually physically saw them attacking him. He killed a lot of the Stalkers. He's got a decent amount of Immortals that are going to help him out in the push. And basically all he knows is that his opponent's probably going towards charge at this point, because taking up to Robotics and then getting the Colossi out, he's not going to have that in time. That just absolutely will not happen. So he decides to go for a bigger push instead of taking that third Nexus. And I feel that this was the right choice. I feel like the choice he made there was really, really smart. Going for 3 Colossi instead of 2 gave him a lot of extra power. I think if he went with 2 Colossi and then waited for the third one to rally, the attack might have worked even better, but it's a choice that he decided to make to play a little bit safer. He had to make that forward pylon, so he lost a little bit of time there, but Creator just was not enough to make it, did not have enough time to make the units he needed to hold that push. NaNiWa looking very strong in that last game. You can see him behind me heading back to his booth. He will be jumping right in. The next map is in fact going to be Ohana. So this is another map where PvP can be pretty cutthroat. Sometimes we have seen long game PvPs here, but for the most part, PvP matches on this map are pretty short. They end up being the player who expands has to defend against a one-base push, and oftentimes will either defend or die, and the game is decided at that moment. So that may be what we see today on this map as well. The music is back. I feel a little bit less weird now. But let us go into the next match. It is going to, of course, be Game 3, the final game between NaNiWa and Creator. Decide who gets that spot in the winner's match. Like I said, it will be on GSL Ohana. NaNiWa really, really stressed out. But this is just, I mean, this is not a situation where it's a best of 3, where if you lose the best of 3, you're out. So even if he loses this one, he still has the opportunity to get into the group. We'll find out what's going to happen in just a few moments. I want to see what builders are going to see. Will we see NaNiWa with a fast second gas on this smaller map? Will we see Creator with, again, a Phoenix build, a Stargate build? Only time will tell. This is the GSL Code S Group B. Brought to you by Wolf, GOMTV, and Monsieur J.
I see red, but I'm not even stopping.